Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, and that means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. Ken Connie in Colorado, in the secret underground headquarters.
That's right, in the bunker.
In the bunker.
In the bunker.
I'm Chris Callen. We're here at Cycle Source
Armaments
headquarters.
are close by, just in case.
Armaments are close by.
Keith Ball taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be ready.
That's right. That's right.
So the snow is melting. Motorcycle season is
No, it's not.
right.
We just got snow.
Oh man, it's beautiful
we just
here.
got snow.
Dude, it was so awesome here today. I wanted to ride so bad.
How'd that work out for you?
Not so much.
Yeah?
Apparently I had to work more than I wanted to ride, so.
That sucks. You guys are working on the next issue, right?
Yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up.
So real
How's
quick,
that going?
I have to interrupt. Matt Klebe, first thing he says is you're late. Matt, in case you're new to Shop Talk and anything Cycle Source does, everything is on CST, Cycle Source time, which is ish. 9-ish.
Yeah.
Ish. So technically we're not late. It's ish.
We're doing pretty good.
We're doing pretty darn good. I was very impressed with the level of professionalism shown behind the scenes this evening.
That means Heather was impressed that I could juggle while I had my ass on fire. So as you notice to the right hand side on Heather's screen there, we do have all of the social media stations reporting in. First up with the hi guys is Brenda Jack DeGazio, but you guys are welcome to participate in the show. What we don't catch on the screen up here like this, Heather will happily bring on to the air live, and we'll talk about it, man. That's what it is. It's Shop Talk.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what's up.
That means we've got to talk.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got some chaos going on there today.
I do, man. You know, I was looking for a good hat, and it's cold here, and so I figured this was the one.
I just thought it was indicative of our life at the moment.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Well, and I really like George.
Yeah, George is a good shit.
Mm-hmm. I knew you were going to say that.
So we got a ton of news, couple great guests tonight. You want to talk about the guests a little bit before we get started?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got two of the ladies from a quest called Tribe. They are a motorcycle tribe. If you go to their website, I think you'll find out everything that you need to know in terms of what they've been up to and what they're up to. But I think our conversation is going to carry it a lot further than that. Super excited to talk to them because they are immensely positive people, and I'm all about positive people these days. So, yeah, I'm psyched.
What does that mean, immensely positive?
What do you mean? They're positive people. Hey,
look, they're awesome. They're watching our show.
Oh, well, there you go. They're immensely positive, and they're watching our show.
Yep.
In your terms, Chris, it means their Jiminy Cricket is not broken.
Oh, I get it.
Does that make sense to you?
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I need to reframe that for you.
Well, you had to put it in Heatherese because Heather will get on this roll where you have those days where nothing's working right. Mm-hmm. Heather's the person that goes, but it's okay. If that thing broke, then maybe you were going to kill yourself with it later. And that's just the universe telling you that it's looking out for you.
So you say that sarcastically, but it's true.
Listen, I don't care if it's true or not. When you're flipping shit, the last thing you want somebody to do is give you a rainbow.
You know what I need you to, do? I need to send you this video that I'm somewhat obsessed with. It's Jocko Willink. Yeah. And it's called Good. I will forward it to you so you can watch it. It's great motivation when you're down in the dumps and you're feeling like maybe things aren't going the way that you want them to.
Unfortunately,
his answer to that is good.
Hey, Michael Davis is in. He said, I thought Quest Called Tribe was a hip hop group. That's actually Tribe Called Quest, right? That's the other way around.
Yeah, correct.
But while we're talking about the feel good state of everything, let's pop over real quick and get started with the actual business of the show this evening and take a little look at the news. First up in the news tonight is the Motorcycle Industry Council's report.
Yes, sir.
A lot of things we've been talking about. Couple new little adjustments there, though, right?
Yeah, there's a couple little tidbits. So, the one that we talked about before was the 19%. So the way that this is framed, obviously, they are trying to paint a specific picture here. As much as I would like to believe, and I would love to have somebody on from the MIC.
Yeah, we keep offering
to counter this, but I feel like they are trying to frame a particular conversation, which is that the motorcycle industry is doing well. So the median age keeps going up. That's not good, because the closer you get to death, the less likely you are to ride a motorcycle. So the median income keeps going down. I guess it went up by $300 from the last 4 years, but that doesn't even count for inflation. But the one thing that I think is really, really interesting is, where is it here? Wait a minute. Oh, they took it out.
Oh, maybe it was fake news.
For the past several years, manufacturers have been offering more great entry-level motorcycles at affordable prices. Oh, here we go. The owner survey also uncovered trends among an emerging group of millennial motorcyclists. More than half have taken a training course. Do you ever take a training course, Chris?
Not in the traditional sense, no.
And use their bikes frequently for commuting. 69% say they are interested in electric motorcycles, citing fuel and the environment as top drivers. I don't even know what the fuel means. Like, I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that it means that you supposedly can just plug your bike in. You don't have to go buy fuel.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway.
if we refer back to the greatest podcaster of all times, Joe Rogan, and his explanation of how millennials and post millennials are just figuring out how to talk. That's why they say, "Oh my God, that's so fire." And shit like that. You may not know what that means at all, Ken. I mean, it might mean their excitement level for...
Dude, we were talking shit that our parents didn't know what the fuck we were saying either. Come on, man.
I know.
Don't even try to put that.
Hey, listen. See this here? See this?
Yeah.
I earned that shit.
It's so great. He'll call Amelia and he'd be like, "Hey, baby, can you tell me what this means? I don't understand." And I'd be like, "Okay, Dad." It's awesome.
No, but aside from the whole millennial electric motorcycle thing, because we're going to get into that today again, I'm sure.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
The fact that there is growth, and yes, I mean, the age of motorcycles is growing, but what I'm bummed to not see is an in-depth demographic report.
There is one.
Where?
Oh no, there's one. Yeah, you just got to pay. You just got to be a member of the MIC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
this is just like they cherry pick all the good stuff to put out there, and then it seems ridiculous that they don't share with the media. But I understand they've got to make a living, and they're whatever it is, $600 a year, I think, for somebody like me to go buy a membership.
Yeah.
Anyways, we probably shouldn't talk shit about the MIC. I'm sure they're doing lots of great things.
It would be more helpful. I mean, in a time where people are looking for answers, there may be more members out there that could use some information like that.
For sure. Dude, do you know what I didn't send you did you see there's a new V-Twin Expo?
No. Really?
They're calling it V-Twin Expo, yeah. They're actually even calling it V-Twin Expo. It's at a dealership in Indiana maybe or something, and they have like a whole warehouse, and it's happening like in 2 weeks, and I was like, oh no, it's definitely not happening because I haven't heard of it, and so there's nobody is going to be there.
It's going to be it should be called a really bad idea.
Well, honestly. I mean, if people don't know about it, that seems difficult,
Even beyond that, man, I mean, like, everyone wants to talk about this. Everybody wants to rag on the guys that are bitching about electric motorcycles, right?
Sure.
But look how far we've come. Just you'll be able to put your eye on this because we watch the media so much in the motorcycle world.
Sure.
Look how far we've come with the inclusion of Asian motorcycles, off-brand customs. Like there's been so much. Like we've included so much. And this is not a time, like economically or from a perspective of diversity, that a V-twin only expo I think would be successful or even need to be there.
No, not at all.
This whole community is more about inclusion right now, and if you're going to have something good, it's got to be pictured that way.
And the only place that you could actually go and demo a electric motorcycle, Cake Motorcycles had their motorcycles down at the Outdoor Retailer this last weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, down in Denver. And that's where that's the only place that I know of where you can actually go and just get on the bike and go ride around,
Well, get on the bike and go ride around, but to their credit, you can go to the Progressive International Motorcycle Show and
oh yeah, you can ride a Zero. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what's going on. So this is what was making me laugh. Brian Ferran said, my 27-year-old daughter said, I listen to old man metal. WTF.
Dude, that's awesome. Because my friend, I was like, we were somewhere, I can't remember, and he's much younger than I am. And I put like NWA in or so, I can't remember what it was. And he's like, this is old man rap. It's like, wow. All right. All right, man.
I love that both my kids actually listen to pretty much the same music we do. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back on track. Next up in the news is a little video we're going to play.
About? Maybe
we're going to play it. Electric is the future. Anybody that caught the X Games this last week saw an incredible presence of Harley Davidson in the commercials. Every single commercial break they took, they had a one of their electric motorcycle commercials.
And I'm really excited
but
to get on it. So if we could
this thing,
start talking about it and get me on this thing, that would be great.
This thing, I have to admit, is pretty badass. I would dig this.
I would ride that.
Not necessarily for a daily commuter or anything.
Maneuver, lightweight. Everywhere I went, people were stopping, taking photos. Felt like the coolest kid in Aspen. The most surprising thing was just how quiet and smooth it was. I'm sure we'll see them all over cities, college towns. It's the wave of the future. Can I keep it?
So this was actually the host of the X Games, Jack Mitriani.
I was gonna say douchey McDoucherton.
Nice, Ken. Nice. I'm supposed to be the bad one. People
Feeling
expect
a little
that
surly
shit from
tonight.
me.
I had hot wings for dinner. What can I say?
But here
I'm sure he's a really nice guy. The thing is that it bums me out that they don't have a motorcycle guy do it.
Right.
Like a Harley dude. Like there should be a Harley guy. And I know they're trying to get to a younger demographic, and that's probably not what that bike is made for. But it would be really cool to get somebody who's ridden a lot of motorcycles, like a Keith Ball, like somebody who was like, I've ridden every goddamn motorcycle on earth, and
I would,
or a Dean Gingerelli.
And I would wager to say this: that might not have been what the original concept of that motorcycle, the demographic that they're going after from concept. But how many motorhomes you think are going to be either the belly or on the back bumper is going to have one of those that'll show up at Sturgis and every other damn rally?
Not if it's $15,000, but yeah.
How much is it?
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a stupid number because that's what it seems like they've been doing lately. So hopefully it's in the, $3,000 range. I think that would probably be the
Michael Davis, come on, you could chop it.
My first thought was that would be great for somebody on a college campus. Like Amelia's campus is pretty big. So that would be cool for her to get around school on.
Yep. Here, wait. This is for Charlie Ransom.
Hi, Charlie. How are you, honey? We miss you.
He said specifically, Ken, just keep the camera on Heather.
Now, that's not very nice.
Oh, it is very nice, actually. He's being very complimentary.
Matt Klebe says it's not really $20,000. Come on.
I don't know how much it is, but with a lot of the stuff that's been coming out about all the, and obviously we haven't seen what they're producing, but with the new Zero S and SR, the new Lightning, man, Harley just is getting hung out to dry in terms of just mainstream media and the price point on that electric motorcycle, because everybody else, regardless of whether they really are under that price point, because if you look at the if you look at the range on the new Zero, in order to get to the range that you would be at with the Harley, it would still be about $6,000 less than a Harley, but it's still, I don't know. They're taking a bath.
And the bad thing is just like everything else, they come out with something and, anybody that comes out with anything anymore, the entire world jumps on and dogpiles and everybody's making one. That's why last week when we started talking about the electric motorcycle thing, again, I was so happy to point out the fact that the leader of the electric vehicle revolution, Elon Musk, is at a point where he's still unable to find his way to profitability. So as excited as everyone might be at potential and possibilities, let's put it in perspective.
Well, and let's really put it in perspective. How many electric motorcycles were sold by the largest electric motorcycle manufacturer last year?
Say it.
0. 750.
So slightly over 0, but
yeah, exactly.
I mean, for the investment,
and that's it. I don't think they're a publicly traded company or anything, so I don't think they have to say anything. But my understanding, and I've seen that reported several places, in several different places. But that is my understanding, is that they sold 750 bikes. That's just not a lot. So anyway.
Okay, so also in from our friends at Inc., Jeff Hayden writes an article this month on how American flat track became the fastest growing sport in motorcycle racing. And I have a perfectly good answer for this, but I want to let you take a crack at it first, Ken.
It's all about promotion and money behind it. That is the key. The guy, the people from American Flat Track have gone all out. They can't. I mean, maybe they're making money at this point. I can't imagine that they are, even with sold out shows at Madison or at the Meadowlands and Sturgis. It's still $20 a ticket for 5,000 people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like I just do the math and I'm like, I don't know how it makes money. So anyway, but yeah, that's my opinion, is that they have done a hell of a job.
Well, I want to put it into perspective like this. If you look at the headline over there, where it says how American Flat Track became the fastest growing sport in motorcycle racing, that's the actual key. Fastest growing sport. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the guys at American Flat Track or flat track racing all across the country, because it's one of the oldest forms of racing. It still happens in small towns and little fairgrounds where they're still running farm boy class and everything else. It is absolutely a foundation of motorcycling. But if you consider the best attended flat track race that happened this year, if it was the sold out race,
it's still not even close to MotoGP.
Yeah, and I mean, let's go up the ladder. Let's start with the Daytona Supercross. You know what I mean? Like, so fastest growing and largest, by volume, revenue, excitement, anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. It still represents a very small piece. But if you remember, also, the flat track used to happen not on the infield at Daytona. It used to happen on that little side track that I think is only an quarter-mile track, which is fun as hell to go around, by the way. But it's just and so they've been trying to elevate that, and they've been trying to elevate the brand, and I think they've been doing a really good job. But like you said, there are other sports out there within motorcycling that are way bigger. I mean, we as Americans have not really embraced MotoGP nearly what the Europeans have. I mean, whether it's Great Britain or the Italians or the Spaniards.
Oh, dude!
And if we had a good somebody at the top, we'd probably be doing really well.
It would never happen here. We could never enjoy the kind of things that they do in Europe because we have giant baseball bats up our asses. And as far as government regulation and people's safety, like, can you imagine, like in the city of San Francisco, a MotoGP race going right through the middle of town? Can you imagine that ever happening in the United States?
So it used to be, you know this, or maybe you don't, but, and I have a whole scene written in this movie that I did where they used to actually race through the city of Venice Beach.
Yeah.
With fucking banks, dude. They would build banks and ride through the city of Venice Beach. Like, how awesome would that be?
Yep.
How stoked would people be if they saw that?
Yeah, and that's a problem. We get tied up in regulation, and our country is so full of shit.
At times.
But let's take a break from the news because it's a little depressing. It's a little depressing when we see how there is too many rules, man. That's why I dig choppers. But let's take a break for 2 seconds and do some product work.
Cool.
Hey man, Chris from Cycle Source Magazine, Greasing Gears Garage, and it's box day. We're going to do an out of the box segment. And today we got a nice shipment in from John Shope at Dirty Bird. You know, we've been building the Twisted T lowrider bike, lowrider Softail, and even though this is a 91, it's a little old for some of the newfangled parts that are out there. We have the Dirty Tail kit coming in from Mr. Shope, and we're going to convert that old Softail triangulated rear frame section with the hidden shocks. We're going to convert it over to Shope's Dirty Tail swing arm. I'm so excited to buy this. This is one of the more complicated pieces we're going to be doing. So there comes everything in the package. You guys can see a tech install on this in an upcoming issue of Cycle Source. We'll see how that's going. I didn't know that this was happening, but apparently we got another box here, and I'm guessing this is going to be sheet metal, unless it's bales of $100 bills, which would be awesome. But I kind of doubt it. People don't send me money like that anymore. Not since my previous career. Oh, okay. So this is also one of Dirty Bird's rear fenders. So I know we have some different things that we're looking at with this, but we'll take this thing and check it out. You can also check the install on that thing coming up on Cycle Source. Nice big low and long like it needs to be for this kind of project. I hate peanuts. I think that used to be a sticker sheet. Okay, so put this back here. The next 10 people that get something from Cycle Source are going to get pink peanuts. Because that's how we do. Hey, so we got a lot of stuff coming up on the Twisted T lowrider Softail. It's going to be debuted in Daytona, which is just right around the corner. In addition to doing all this bike building crazy shit, once in a while we do a copy of this magazine we would love for you to go check out on the newsstand. I'm Chris with Cycle Source. Stick around for another episode of Greasing Gears Garage. So I got to tell you, we got that thing in, and I was a little apprehensive, Ken, because the swing arm kit is designed for 2001 and up. And I had a couple guys like Sideshow was telling me, yeah, it can be done and it's not a big deal. But I was nervous going into it because this bike is not, completely in my wheelhouse. So today or last night, like super quick, I figured out I need, 2 1/8-inch spacers, but in the pivot shaft, between the pivot shaft and the swing arm, and it's done. And
really, that's it?
Totally changes the look of the bike. It was really,
because they're exterior shocks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it look old school, and it's
nice.
I'm having a good time with it now.
Isn't that funny? So the guys that developed the Softail are probably rolling over in their grave because they were like, "No, you missed the point, man. It's supposed to look like a rigid. What are you doing? Come on, man."
For anybody that hasn't been keeping up with this for, this is our 3rd year building a bike for Twisted T, and this year they came to us with a design concept in their minds, and this is what they want to build. So we're going after a traditional lowrider approach.
And I have to say, I have to give you a lot of credit because you are a chopper guy through and through. Like, I know you initially looked at this, and I think you had already signed the contract when they said, "Oh, hey, by the way, this is what we want," and you went, "Huh." But you've really
Hey,
you
you know
jumped
what?
into it and you're like, well, let's see how diverse I can be. And
It's fun, man. And here's the point. There's not a lot of guys like the last Twisted Tea bike that we built. Stainless steel exhaust, all this different stuff that we did to it, like super intense fabrication. There's not a lot of guys that are gonna right out of their 2-car garage are gonna go after something like that. But projects like this, when you're looking at Softails now going for $2,500 and $3,000, the early Softails, you can throw a couple grand into something like that, and on a budget you can make a pretty cool bike. And it doesn't require a whole garage full of machinist equipment and fabrication tools. So, I mean, there's a certain amount of this, to keep us grounded and to keep the magazine grounded, there's a certain amount of this that we got to do. We got to remember that this is what's going on.
no, but just for the record, I'm not saying I'll actually ride that with you.
Oh, come on now.
Right? There's my girl right there. There's my girl.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Brutal.
But you can't sign up to win it, so there you go.
Yeah, somebody will get it for free.
Yeah, I just posted on the video about my Forever Two Wheels t-shirts. I have a closet full of Forever Two Wheels t-shirts. Will people please buy them so I can get rid of them?
Oh, wait a minute. I have a question
Jesus.
for you, Ken. Did you buy the little dirt bike last week?
No, I didn't.
Oh, wah, wah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Thanks for bringing that up, though.
Sorry.
No, I didn't. No, I looked at finances and decided that probably wasn't the prudent thing to do. So, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes. Sometimes it goes the other way too.
Right
What's
on.
that from? What movie is that from? Sometimes it goes the other way too. Alabama Whirly
Damn.
says it. True Romance. Anyway,
I blew it.
Don't know the movie.
I was thinking 11 to 45.
I don't know. You sounded like Mr. Rogers when you said it.
it's right at the end. It's right at the end of the movie.
I was thinking 11 to 45 because that's all you really need in the world. All right, so it's 9:30, and that means it's time for us to hit up our first guest, and
Yeah.
let's see how well this goes tonight.
Awesome.
Okay. So we have them on. This is my bad. 1 second. I forgot to make the adjustments to the size of the frame. 1 second. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
There you are.
What's up?
Howdy.
Oh, thanks for being on with us tonight.
Pleasure being here.
Go
Super
ahead and
exciting.
go ahead, Ken, and get started. I'm going to adjust the audio while we set
Okay.
this up.
Cool. So, can you all please introduce yourself so I don't screw up the pronunciation of your name,
Ken.
as well as tell us where you're from and what A Quest Called Tribe is all about. So, just brief.
Bless your heart. You've had quite a time with our names, right?
It didn't make it easy for you, though.
Well, it wasn't our doing. It wasn't my doing. So I'm Tana Roller, and
I'm Gevin Fax.
Gevin,
Yes, like heaven with a G.
and Tana like Donna with a T.
Yep.
Got it?
Got it.
Got it.
So A Quest Called Tribe. We are a wild band of gypsies rolling around looking for today's revolutionaries and wanted to create a little black book of the badasses of the world today. We're doing like sort of guerrilla style filming and creating a docu-series, and then later on we'll take someone from over here, match them up with someone over here, do a collaboration, and just, create superpowers, super good superheroes, show the superheroes, highlight the superheroes of today. That's part of what we're doing.
And I feel like your definition of badass might be slightly different than what some of our viewers might think. So could you define that?
Whoa, dude.
Wow, that's a loaded question. I would say, geez, gosh,
Well, you're talking about revolutionaries, right? Like what so people who are doing, thank you for that question. People who are doing things to change the world for the better, obviously. Anybody. They don't have to be motorcycle related in any way. They don't even have to be interested in motorcycles. It's about the planet and the cultures. The communities, creating communities. Absolutely. And coming together and being better humans, being kind, sharing love, just
basically putting a really good positive spin on things, because right now we're kind of lacking that. Instead of assuming the worst or the negativity in something, assume on the positive. Really, you got to lose.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, that in today's world, nothing is more true right now. It seems like we've arrived at a place where everyone is suspect of each other and everyone is super critical of each other, and there is no place to meet this common ground where people can just be people.
Right. And what's that about? Like, we're here to connect, we're here to create, we're here to love. Let's love. Let's get on with it.
I do think it's definitely time for pause for that, because the bottom line is that we're all human, and we make mistakes. And I think that we need to forgive ourselves in that sense and allow ourselves to be human and just say, you know what, not everybody thinks the same way. Not everybody's had the same experiences. Not everybody understands everyone else. And I think that if we stop and pause for just a moment, I think, and communicate with each other on a positive level, and just kind of let all the bad stuff kind of fade away just for a moment to talk, I think that we'd be finding out very quickly that we have a lot of common ground.
Hold space for each other.
Yeah.
To be who the fuck you are.
Right.
Like, do that.
Yeah.
No one else can do it. Just do it.
Be you.
Like,
be you.
Be
it's
you.
Okay.
Well, and I got to tell you, like, looking through, getting ready for the show and everything, and trying to make myself more familiar with you guys, even just in the images, the places where you are, and the energy that it looks like in the images from the people that you're with, like, even that seems like an empowering thing. Like, I found myself, like, really digging the time I was spending, investing on learning about you.
We have a rad life. Like, it's the best life, being on two wheels. We just happen to roll in on motorcycles, and for some reason that turns people on, and that's my favorite saying. I love that phrase, do what turns you on, stay ignited and live this life, right?
I think that's the bottom line. I really do.
Passion.
I think it's about living your best you and finding a way to make sure that you're putting out an energy that is a light energy, as opposed to an energy that's not dark. I'm just going to say a lower level vibration. Just getting it out there and just being your best you, and doing the best you can not to harm anybody, and being your best you, but accepting other people for being who they are and letting them be themselves. Because I think that's where we kind of lose stuff, and lose ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I can also see people kind of rolling their eyes just at, because I get this a lot when I start talking to people about trying to do kind of the next right thing, and watching somebody. So, like, last night I went to a live.
We just lost Ken.
We lost Ken. Come back,
what
Ken.
happened?
There you go.
A live performance at E-Town in Boulder, and I got to see a couple of performers, and they were obviously, like, that's what they were put on this planet to do, right? And it's the easiest way for people to kind of associate with that. And so what do you think is a good way for people to understand, like, in a real like tangible way what it is that you're talking about, because I think a lot of people would maybe get the sense like, oh, this is just like some more like woo-woo bullshit, right? I mean, there's definitely people out there that are saying that, right? And so, but it's not, because I know that, because I've experienced it, right? And you're around people like that, and it's a totally different, when you're around people like that that are creating and doing what it is that they're put here to do, it's a whole different deal. I feel like a lot of people have never had that experience.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's a hard concept to grasp, because so many people live in such fear that they don't want to actually kind of move outside of the box. And I think that's the groundwork right there, is being able to take that teeny tiny step just to put your toe in the water, and experience something that's a little bit out of your comfort level, your comfort zone. And I think that once that happens, magic happens. Of course, it's good to have a support system. I mean, and with us, I mean, we've supported each other. We've built kind of a support system within the motorcycle community over the years that's allowed us to be who we are. And I mean, certainly that's not without
we don't need their
making
permission.
Mistakes.
We don't need their permission. But what she's saying is also true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you're allowed to make mistakes, and I think that's where we kind of get lost is when we feel like we're not doing what we should or whatever, because it's
judged.
Really, or being judged. Yeah, and it's really not about shoulds. It's about be your best you. Do what you do. Coulds, yes. Coulds and no can'ts.
There's a whole language thing
No
with
can'ts.
us. It's all this whole language thing. It's like prosperity thinking, and don't judge yourself. Like we're our worst enemies in that way. So instead of saying I should have, I could have.
Say wish.
A choice.
I wished I had done this.
Everything's a choice. I could have, and move on from it.
Yeah, don't dwell on it, because if you dwell on, it's like if you dwell on your past or you dwell on your future, you're missing this really cool stuff that's happening.
You're staying stuck in a lower vibration.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want anybody to be stuck.
Yeah. We get excited about
we
this
do.
shit.
No, man, listen, I am too. I mean, for a long time, I've always talked about this thing, the metaphysics and motorcycling. I write about it all the time. And, I claim to be the byproduct of a biker and a hippie getting together, my mom and my dad. And, that intersection that exists there is always that when you drill down and really find out what motorcycle people were like when I was growing up, you found, journeyman philosophers and, travelers and wanderers that were like even the foundation of where the motorcycle culture came from. Terms like fuck the world and down with the man and all that shit, it was literally people that were checking out on what you were supposed to do, how you were supposed to live. Like this was a movement. The motorcycle was a vehicle, like that we rode out of town on, but it was about that same thing, man, about living your life and like not trading that shit in lightly. And doing what you're supposed to do and digging it.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, when I was a kid, and I used to go into this one store, and they used to have magazines that were motorcycle oriented. And for me, it was a little different, simply because I was African American. But I still sat down and looked at these magazines, and all I saw in these magazines were people that were on motorcycles and all smiling with bonfires and camping. And it was like, I like that. I want to do that. And I think that's what ignited me. And the bottom line is that all of us want to get into that. All of us do. And if we can set the fear aside long enough to get in there and do it, you just take the leap. You take the leap.
And that's how I grew up. I grew up doing that with my dad. Campfires.
Right on.
Biking and hill climbing and just, and developing something that I know now that's very important is a unity with nature. Nature is so important.
Absolutely.
Nature's our biggest teacher, right? I mean, look, we're in vines.
That's
right
my
now.
biggest inhale.
Like nature is the therapy. Yet we're on these machines that sort of, the way I was raised, we kind of shredded nature. So you had to find that balance, and I think that's super important. We need to really take care of our planet better than we are, and Quest has that consciousness vision, and through our docuseries, you will see us promoting, hugging your mother.
Yeah. Well, we're making the attempt. We're making the attempt, and I think that's the biggest step, is making the attempt, because if you sit around and contemplate it forever, then no action is done, and it comes down to action. And we're doing the best we can. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. I mean,
Not even
close.
Yeah, but that's no fun.
No, that's no fun. I mean, and I think that we've learned and grown through our mistakes, our pitfalls, arguments, or whatever the case may be. I mean, because we're human. And I think that that's the one piece that a lot of people forget, is that we're human. We're all human, and we all have pitfalls. We all have depression. We have all the stuff that we're just trying to get through it.
For sure. Well, and I think, I'm looking at, I don't know that anybody else can see it. I think I'm the only one that can see it, but Chris is sitting there and he's got his travel cup for coffee. And that is a huge, that's like, and I know this is so stupid, but it's true. It's like the easiest thing everyone can do. If everybody just took their goddamn coffee cup when they went and got Starbucks, instead of going and getting their cup,
Right.
you would have a lot less garbage, right? I mean, and it's those silly, like, simple things, that I try to teach my kids and that I try to practice myself. And like you said, I don't do it perfectly, but it's that intention, of trying to do the next right thing. And I think that's a huge piece of it.
Hey man, and taking this into a metaphysical place too. Like, let's not forget about the emotional trash that we whip around everywhere, because that's something you can start with individually. You can start being conscious about the emotional garbage you're leaving behind you as you walk through this life. You can do that today without a big change to how you live at all.
Absolutely.
Have you seen that sign? Be responsible for the energy you bring to this space.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about consciousness. It's about being aware of what you're bringing to the table. It's about being aware of what your thoughts are. It's about being aware of what it is that you're putting out there and putting yourself in check. Again,
that right there is one of the most important things, because while I want to pull up a bunch of love for people, but I also demand people have acceptance of responsibility for things. And that goes with, like I just said about throwing your emotional trash around. And you gotta own that energy. You bring that energy in the room. You gotta own it. You gotta be able to call yourself on your own bullshit.
Absolutely.
Right on,
and laugh
right
about
on.
it if you need to.
Yep.
Laugh about it to evolve. Yeah, you gotta laugh. I mean, because you gotta laugh at yourself. If you're not laughing at yourself, there's a disconnect.
That's how wars start.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't laugh at yourself.
Not good.
Everyone needs to have more sex.
Yeah.
Laugh at yourself. Like, don't take yourself too seriously.
Too seriously.
Just, what is it all about anyway? We're all going to die.
Hey, what if it was all about the hokey pokey?
Hey.
that was all of it was all about.
That changes everything.
Right.
I gotta rethink that. Here's to the hokey pokey.
Yeah, you know what, man? Like a lot of times, now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of times where we'll be around a lot of motorcycle people, and the furthest thing that you could do is imagine in your mind a group of kids sitting around. But there's a lot of times where it's exactly like that. There's a lot of times where you can see a group of these guys and girls are supposed to be the badasses on the planet, all in their motorcycle gear and everything. And you can realize a group of children sitting there laughing their asses off, having fun. You know what I mean? And that sort of that innocence of a child, and like the energy that goes on when kids enjoy play, you get
That's
that
beautiful.
from.
That's an absolutely beautiful energy. And I think that we tend to lose it as we get older because we get dumped on with life, just things coming at you, and you're like, ah, But I think that you got to get to a point in your life. It's too much. Sometimes it's like overload. But I think that if you stick with that childlike thought, and just like, hey, well, what are you going to do? You just get in there and dive in, and do the best you can. That's all you can do. That's all that's ever expected of you, is to do the best you can. And just try to make your way through it.
Well, I liked early on in this conversation too, you said, we're humans and we all make mistakes, because that that you get a chance to hit the reset button every day. I mean, I'm sitting here saying some awful grand gestures that I hope to pull off in my own life too, and I try every day to make more of them a part of my everyday life. But you know, some of them are a little more obtainable for me on a day-to-day basis than others, but that's the goal, right? You don't have to be perfect.
If you have the vision, you can do it. Just know it. Just fucking know it. It's just, it really is. I mean, this came out of nothing. Like, this came out of a desire to basically, not that we're ready to retire, but to retire on motorcycles and do something with passion and with purpose and with intention. Yeah. Intention is everything. It's everything. And not to get preachy and weird and whatever, but it just is. It's, you know, what's your intention? If you're ever in like a weird situation, that's the best way to diffuse it. Say, yo, what's your intention right now? Yep. And then, right? Yeah. Everyone has to stop.
That's
and
about as real as it gets.
What is
your intention right now?
Like,
what is your intention right now?
You know? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, Heather and I will go through that because when you live with your significant other, work with your significant other, you know, everything, we travel together, we do everything together. Every once in a while, you just got to look at the other person and say, what the fuck is your problem today? You